Most marriages are happy and healthy relationships, but sometimes marriages don't work out. The three couples depicted in this video all started their marriages in a loving and hopeful way. None expected that the marriage would end. If each couple had signed a halachic prenuptial agreement, they would have been free to move on with their lives after the marriage ended.
I met him at a Shabbos meal.
I met him on a shidduch date.
I met him at a friend's wedding.
He was confident and charming. He made me feel special.
He was fun and exciting. He was always looking for an adventure.
He was a nice, caring person, and he wanted to make Aliyah, just like I did.
At first, it was perfect.
At first, I was in a whirlwind.
At first, it felt like everything was falling into place for me.
Everything was great. My husband lavished attention on me, and I had never been so happy.
Everything was great. He swept me off on trips and always had an idea of something new and fun to do together.
Everything was great. We were both excited to start our life together and to make Aliyah soon.
Then things started to change. He'd criticize me for things like my cooking or how I styled my shadel. Our Shabbos guests complimented me on our meals, and I always tried to look nice. But I thought, if it bothers my husband, I should fix it.
Money was tight, but he kept buying me gifts that I knew we couldn't afford. I thought he was just trying to be a good husband and make me happy. How could I say no?
I started researching what kinds of jobs we could have and what part of Yerushalayim would be best for us to live in. I wanted to share the information with my husband and to start making real plans together. But every time I brought up Israel, he changed the subject.
I didn't understand what was going on. We had a baby, and I thought things would get better now that we were parents. I loved being a mom, but my husband got mad when the baby cried and yelled at me when I couldn't quiet him down.
I had just finished my master's degree and started a speech therapy job that I loved. But even though I was the only one earning money while he started a business, he handled all the finances. One day, I saw a credit card bill in the mail from a bank I didn't recognize. I opened it. The card was in both our names, and it said we owed $5,000.
I wanted to talk about our plans, our jobs, finances, children, but he didn't want to discuss the future.
I felt so ashamed.
I felt powerless and scared.
I felt guilty.
So I tried to make things better. I cooked nice meals.
I tried to talk to my husband.
I stopped talking about our future plans.
But instead, things got worse. One day, I came home from the park and my husband screamed at me, "What's wrong with you? You should have been here when I got home. You can't do anything right."
He destroyed my credit card and made me ask him for cash when I wanted to buy anything, even groceries. I was earning the money, but he was controlling it.
I thought he would come to talk to me about making Aliyah when he was ready. But once I stopped talking about our plans, he never brought it up. I started to wonder if we really did want the same things after all.
Is this really my life? One day, our son spilled a cup of juice on the carpet. My husband saw the stain and started yelling at me. "Why weren't you watching him? You can't do anything right." He was furious.
We were sitting down to Shabbos dinner when the lights went out. I thought there was a power outage, but when the lights didn't come back on, we had to go stay with my parents a few blocks away. On Sunday morning, I waited until he had left the house for Minyan and then called the electric company. They told me that the bill hadn't been paid in months.
He finally told me that he had changed his mind about making Aliyah. He said his parents would be heartbroken if we moved so far away, and he couldn't hurt them like that. How could he change his mind about such a major decision and not talk to me about it?
He tried to explain. He said he never meant to hurt me, that he loves me, but he's under a lot of stress at work and he needs me to keep our home calm for him.
He said that he had paid the bill and the electric company had just made a mistake. He was angry at me for interfering again, but he promised to fix it.
He said that he didn't want me to be upset, but there was no point in discussing Israel because he had already made up his mind.
I knew it had gone too far. I was exhausted, so I ordered takeout for dinner that night. When I served it to my husband, he screamed, "What is this garbage?" and threw the plate on the floor.
The electricity came back on, but then we started getting phone calls from debt collectors, threatening legal action if we didn't pay.
I tried to give up on my dream of making Aliyah and focus on building a future in America, but my husband wouldn't talk to me about anything important. Jobs, finances, children. I felt like I was alone in my marriage.
I asked for help. I never told anyone about our problems because I was so ashamed. I thought it was my fault that my marriage was so difficult. It was the hardest thing I've ever done. Hassan, but I called my Rebbitzin and told her what happened.
I was so embarrassed. I didn't want anyone to know that we were in debt, but I didn't have a choice. I went to my parents and asked for help to pay some of the bills.
I talked to my college teacher. She said that married couples need to communicate, especially about these big decisions. She told me that we should go to counseling.
My Rebbitzin agreed that things had gone too far. I talked to my parents and told them what was going on. My son and I moved in with my parents, and I filed for a civil divorce.
I told him that I couldn't trust him anymore. He'd made and broken too many promises, and I was miserable from living with all the stress and the worry. He says it's my fault that we're in debt because I didn't stop his spending.
I told him I wanted to go to marriage counseling with him to work on our communication, but he refused. He says we don't have a problem, and he doesn't understand why I'm so upset about him.
But now he's withholding the get. We're civilly divorced, but he's still controlling me. I wish I could move on with my life and build a safe home for my son, but I can't. He said he'll never give me a get.
He agreed to a civil divorce, but when it came time to grant the get, he refused. He's demanding money from my parents before he'll consider giving me a get. I'm scared. What if he never gives me a get?
He finally agreed that our marriage isn't working, and he's not willing to try to fix it. We separated and started our civil divorce proceedings, but his parents blame me for the marriage not working out and told him not to give me a get. But there is a solution.
My friend asked me if we had signed a prenuptial agreement, but I had never even heard of that.
I wish I had had a prenup. I wanted one, but I didn't know how to talk to my husband about it.
Fortunately, before our wedding, our Masadr Kedushin asked us to sign a prenup, and we did. Without it, I would have become an agunah. Now, thanks to the prenup, I'll be free to move on with my life.